80,000 people died in the atomic bomb dropping on Hiroshima, Japan. This is only one type of nuclear weapon. For the past decade, Iran has been trying to make their own nuclear weapon, supposedly for defensive purposes only. What we're going to be talking about today is Iran's nuclear program and the United States' concern, and as well as what they've done about it. So today's main question is, should economic sanctions remain on Iran if they reduce their nuclear program? My goal today is to help inform you all of the historical background as well as what current measures are in place, as well as both sides to the issue, so that you all can make an informed opinion about this. Because of the professional sources that I use, I feel I'm equipped to talk about this issue. So it is really important when discussing this issue to talk about the background information so that we can better understand why we're at the place we are today. So back in 1979, the U.S. and Iran encountered some issues following the Iranian Revolution. So what had happened is November 4th of 1979, Iranian students had taken 52 American people and held them hostage in the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, which is the capital of Iran, and held them there for 444 days. In response to this, President Carter enacted economic sanctions and declared that there would be no more relations with Iran. In April of 1980, a trade embargo was also put in place to restrict transactions between the United States and Iran. These sanctions and others were put in place and tightened, and even more were created during President Reagan's presidency, as for fear of the Iranian government's policies supporting terrorism. One of the many later enacted sanctions includes the Iran-Iraq Arms Non-Proliferation Act of 1992. And what this did was ban any transfer of goods or technologies that led Iranians or Iraqis to obtain chemical, biological, nuclear, or destabilizing number and types of advanced conventional weapons. These things were not really effective when done by the U.S. alone. However, once the U.S. recruited other nations to join in its efforts to stop Iran, the Iranian government began to feel the heat. This information comes from an article about the sanctions against Iran and its nuclear program, published in the Journal of Academic Studies in 2013. So, as previously mentioned, other countries have joined in this effort. Currently, the United States, members of the European Union, Japan, the Republic of Korea, Canada, Australia, Norway, Switzerland, and others have put in place strong interlocking matrix of sanctions relating to Iran's nuclear missile energy, shipping, transportation, and financial sectors. And what this is for is to encourage Iran to stop what they're doing and have a constructive conversation with other countries to help fulfill its non-proliferation obligations. And with their compliance, sanctions would be lifted, and Iran would once again be treated as a non-weaponized non-nuclear weapon state. This information comes from State.gov's article titled Iran Sanctions, accessed April 13th of 2015. Other people suggest that even if Iran were to create a weapon, they only have enough resources to create one. As such, or in the case of its usage, UN members other UN members have the resources to neutralize that missile, and if on their own accord, they would be able to retaliate. However, this, of course, all assumes that Iran's nuclear weapon is not at all for defensive purposes only. And this opinion comes from Patrick Buchanan's article titled Iran Nuclear Weapon Program is a Myth, published in the American Conservative in 2010. Many suggest the rationale for these sanctions is to prevent Iran's attempt to develop an Islamic revolution, assisting and supporting terrorism groups, and or achieving nuclear weaponry in order to have hegemonic power in the Middle East. This information also comes from a previous article that I mentioned, which was the one about sanctions about Iran and its nuclear program, published in the academic journal in 2013. So Besides this, others suggest that the U.S. was simply wanting ownership of the Iranian region simply for its oil supply. So, given this historical information about the relationship between the United States and Iran, as well as the current measures in place, it's my hope that with this information, you all can make your own informed opinions about this, as well as further research those opinions to have a better understanding of what's really going on here. So, does the U.S. have a reason to be concerned, or is the government simply trying to create a reason to invade the area, take it over, and have control of the oil supplies? No one really understands or knows what's going on except for the Iranian government as well as the American ones. So, it's up to you to decide. Thank you for watching.